تخاف أكثر. بدي أخاف.
خايف على أمي، خايف على أختي، خايف على زوجتي.
السواقة عندنا ما هي سهلة.
أنا ماني خوفي من المرأة بحد ذاتها.
لا يجب أن نضع هذه المخاوف عائق، لأنه لو طالع في كل دول العالم هذه المشاكل تصير في كل مكان.
لكن هذا لا يعني إنه خلاص طالما أنا خايف عليك الموضوع ده ممنوع.
أحس حنان لا قدها، واجهت أشياء أكبر من القيادة.
يعني كابتن طيار أختي، فما تبغى تسوق سيارة. ما شاء الله عليك.
يقال بأن وراء كل رجل عظيم امرأة.
اللي دعمني كانت أمي.
الحمد لله في كل مواقف صعبة أدت في حياتي أختي ولا عمرها نسيتني.
أول دي جي ميكسر اللي اشترت لي.
ألمس كل هذا النجاح والجزء الأكبر لزوجتي.
زوجتي رشا خياط اللي وجه لها تحية، هي التي وقفت معي وأشعرتني بوجودي ككيان وساهمت في تحقيق الكثير من أحلامي.
الامرأة هي الحياة يا شيخ.
هذه المرأة اللي أنت وثقت فيها أنها تربي جيل، معقولة ما تثق فيها أنها تسوق سيارة؟
سربرايز.
لا والله
سربرايز.
أساساً قلت لي إنك مشيت البيت.
كنت بخير. كنت بخير بابا، كنت بخير. الله يخليك يا بابا يا حبيبي. كنت بخير. أنا مبلد.
فين معك يا
حبيبي حبيبي.
ಚಿಂತಿಸಬೇಡಿ, ವಿಡಿಯೋದ ಸೌಂಡ್ಗೆ ಏನೂ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಕ್ಷಣ ಕ್ಷಣವೂ ಬದುಕೋದು ಹೀಗೆ. ಓಹ್ ಸಾರಿ, ನನ್ ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಮರ್ತೆ. ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಜನರು ನನಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕಿವುಡ, ಮೂಕ, ಹುಚ್ಚ ಇತ್ಯಾದಿ. ಆದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ನನ್ನನ್ನ ಮನೋಜ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀಬಹುದು. ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿದಿರ್ಬೋದು ನನಗೆ ಕಿವಿ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ, ಮಾತು ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಬಾಲ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ನನ್ನ ನೋಡಿ ಖುಷಿ ಪಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಂತರ ನನಗೆ ತಿಳಿತು ಅವರು ಲೇವಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ. ಮೌನತೆಯೊಂದೇ ನನ್ನ ಒಡನಾಡಿಯಾಗಿತ್ತು.
ಅವ್ನು ಹುಟ್ಟಿದಾಗ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಯ್ತು, ಮಗು ಹುಟ್ಟಿದಾನೆ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆದಾಗ ನನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ನೋವು ಇತ್ತು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಅವನಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ದೇವರಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ಲಿ, ನಿನ್ ಮುಂದೆ ನಿನ್ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ, ದೇವ್ರಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ನೀನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೀತೀಯಾ ಅನ್ನೋದೊಂದು ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವನಿಗೆ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಮಾಡಿದೆ.
ಆರ್ಮಿಯಿಂದ ಬಂದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ನೀನು ಧೈರ್ಯವಾಗಿರು, ನೀನು ನಗ್ನಗ್ತಾ ಹಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರು, ನೀನು ನಾವಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ನೀನು ಭಯ ಬೀಳ್ಬೇಡ.
ಶೆಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ನಾನು ತೋರಿಸಿಕೊಡಲು ಆಶಾಕಿರಣವೊಂದು ಸಿಕ್ಕಿತು. ನಾನು ನಿಜವಾಗಿ ಪರಿಶ್ರಮ ಪಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆರಂಭಿಸಿದೆ.
9 years back, when Manoj came for the interview, one striking thing during his interview process was the confidence that he had in himself. He wanted an opportunity to better himself. And Manoj is also a person who regularly intervenes when something is not going right. He's got that leadership qualities to make decisions on his own. If you speak with him for 10 minutes, he is so good at mimicry, you will feel like you are watching yourself in the mirror.
It feels really good every time I come here to see Manoj greeting me with a very good smile. Also, it feels nice that people like Manoj are getting such good opportunities here.
ಈಗ ಜನರು ನನ್ನ ನೋಡಿ ಅಪಹಾಸ್ಯ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಮುಗುಳು ನಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಶೆಲ್ ನನ್ನ ಬದುಕಿನ ಪ್ರಯಾಣವನ್ನ ಬದಲಾಯಿಸಿದೆ. ನನ್ನ ಕನಸು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನ ಹಾಕಿರೋ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವರ ಬದುಕನ್ನ ಬದಲಾಯಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ.
I don't think so. No.
I don't think so.
Nah.
I just use the flashlight on my phone.
Wow, really?
That's pretty cool.
All right, I'm sold.
Those clothes don't make you look good. Are you putting on weight or something? She only got the position because she's a woman. You don't want to be an engineer. That's a man's job. These are real things women engineers have actually heard.
Why doesn't your husband just let you stay home? Hey, sweetie, when you got a minute, I'll get a cup of coffee.
Look who's wearing earrings today. You got promoted too?
So we've only got one ladies' bathroom. It's up 3 flights of stairs.
Nice breath, Sarah. Good to see you making an effort.
File that for me. That's a good girl.
Oh, great. I'm so glad there's another
We
woman
won't
here.
tiptoe around you because you're a woman, you know. You still have to put in the same amount of work.
So I guess you'll be starting a family soon, huh?
Hey, guys, no swearing. There's a woman in the room.
I don't think this university is ready for a female
Are
president.
you sure you'll be able to handle this course? It's quite advanced.
We'll do the more technical stuff, and you can take notes, okay?
This work is very strong. Have you thought about applying for the Chancellor's Fellowship too?
You're so good at math and science. You have to apply to these top universities.
Have you thought about a career in engineering?
I'll help you research, and we'll put together a poster for the science.
Who's my clever girl?
Did you build that all by yourself?
That's amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Be the difference. Close the gender gap. Let's make the future.
And what would you say if you heard someone saying these things?
I would say, why would you say something like that? I can do whatever you can do. And even if you do think that, we women will show you that we can do it. Comment below what you would say.
Good morning. I hope you like those video takes from Shale in various places around the world. I'm Chad Holliday, and I'm delighted to welcome you this morning to our annual general meeting. Safety is the highest priority for Shale. So before we go any further, I want to say a few words about safety during our meeting today. First, if you see anything unsafe or anything that concerns you, please identify one of the uniformed officers in the hall and point it out to them. Second, if we should have to evacuate this room for any reason, instructions will come across the speaker system and you will go to the nearest exit. Please take a minute now to identify the exit that's closest to you. Let me start by introducing your board and saying a few words about the non-executive directors who are seeking election today. On my right is Ben Van Beurden, our Chief Executive Officer, Jessica Ull, our Chief Financial Officer. On my left, Corporate Secretary Linda Samansky, and Hans Wires, our Deputy Chair and Senior Independent Non-Executive Director. He's chair of the Corporate and Social Responsibility Committee and member of the Nomination and Succession Committee. Hans stands down today from the board at the end of today's meeting after 9 years of very distinguished service. At the end of the meeting, I will thank Hans properly for his service, but I want to start off by doing it now and saying, Hans, you still have a few more hours to work, so don't. On the back row, Sir Nigel Shingwall from the UK, a member of the Corporate and Social Responsibility Committee and the Remuneration Committee, and from Damara, chair of the Corporate and Social Responsibility Committee. Sir Nigel held a number of esteemed senior British diplomatic posts, including ambassador to the US, foreign policy and defense advisor to the UK Prime Minister, head of the UK Cabinet Office of Defence and Overseas Secretariat, and British ambassador to the permanent representative of the European Union in Brussels. Linda Stuntz from the US, a member of the Audit Committee and a member of the Nomination and Succession Committee. Linda steps down from the Audit Committee today, and from tomorrow she will be a member of the Corporate and Social Responsibility Committee. Linda is a founding partner in a law firm in Washington, D.C., where her practice focuses on energy and environmental regulation, as well as matters relating to government support for technology. She has also served as Deputy Secretary of the U.S. Department of Energy. Harriet Zom, a member of our Audit Committee and member of the Remuneration Committee. Harriet is well known to many of you as a strong breadth of financial investment and political experience from his former service as Minister of Finance here in the Netherlands, and also serving as chair of the Managing Board of ABN AMRO. Last month, he was also appointed as a director of Moody's Corporation in the U.S. Yulene Goh from Singapore, chair of the Audit Committee. Yulene is a chartered accountant with qualifications in banking and taxation. She's held various senior management positions at Standard Chartered Bank, Chief Executive Officer of Standard Chartered Bank, Singapore. Harry Kleisterly, chair of the Remuneration Committee, and from Damara, Deputy Chair and Senior Independent Director and member of the Nomination and Succession Committee. He is also well known in the Netherlands, previously serving as CEO of Philips, a member of the Supervisory Board of Dalmer, a member of the Board of Dell Incorporated, and currently a chair of Vodafone Group PLC and chair of the Supervisory Board of ASML Holdings. Catherine Hughes from Canada, a member of the Corporate and Social Responsibility Committee and the Remuneration Committee. Catherine was elected to the board at last year's annual general meeting and took her post effective last June. Catherine has more than 30 years' experience in the oil and gas industry, where she's held various senior roles, including Executive Vice President International Nexan and is Non-Executive Director of Statoil. She is currently Non-Executive Director of Precision Drilling Corporation and SNC Lavalin Group. And finally, Roberto Stubla from Brazil, a member of the Audit Committee. Roberto was elected to the board at last year's meeting and took his post last October. Roberto has deep experience working in banking industry as Chief Executive Officer and Vice Chairman of the Board of Directors Itaú and São Paulo, Brazil. He retired as CEO last year and currently serves as co-chair of their Board of Directors. As you've read in the notice of meeting, we have arranged for this to be webcast. We welcome all those that are joining by webcast, and we hope it will be valuable to you. I should also mention that filming or recording in this room is not permitted, and we appreciate you abiding by that rule. We will conduct this meeting in English, but Dutch translation facilities are available. There are headphones. If you did not get one, please get one from one of the ushers. I now declare this annual meeting formally open and suggest, with your permission, notice convening the meeting will be taken as read. Thank you very much. Let me start with my presentation to the meeting, and then after my presentation, we'll follow by Ben. Let's move to the cautionary slide. Please take note of this slide, and also take note of all of our public filings, because it's very difficult to read the slide. But in all seriousness, do take into account all of our public information as you make an investment decision. Next slide. My comments today will focus on one theme, the theme that was developed in the 1930s. You can be sure of Shell. This was designed for motorists, and it was actually an advertisement encouraging people to use our products in their journeys. But I will use it today in a much broader context, and that's trust, because I believe trust in corporations is even more important today than it's ever been. We must earn the trust of not just our customers, but our investors, our employees, and wider society. We're a company that supplies energy and materials. Our products make clean water, safe food, shelter, clothing, and comfort. They're very important to people. As we started this meeting, I reminded you that safety is so important to Shell. We strive to eliminate all injuries, and yes, that is a very challenging goal, but it's critical that we work toward that every day. Last year, I am proud to say that our personal safety record was the lowest number of people hurt per hour worked in our history. Great progress. However, the other area we focus on, process safety incidents, after 5 years of very good improvement, we had an increase in incidents last year. I'm pleased to describe to you a step the company's taken to improve that. It's the 10 process safety fundamentals. If you're familiar with our 12 life-saving rules we've been using for many years in personal safety, this is the equivalent. I've worked in the process industry for over 35 years, and these 10 fundamentals are as solid a step as I've ever seen to moving us forward, and we look forward to results this year and years to come. We cannot talk about safety and not include Pakistan. It is the most difficult situation I've ever had to communicate. On June 25th of last year, there was a devastating event where a fuel tanker overturned and spilled fuel. It was operated by some subcontractor of Shell Pakistan Limited outside the direct operational control of Shell Pakistan Limited. To the best of our knowledge, no one was critically injured at the time of the accident. However, people from a nearby village later gathered and the fuel ignited. 221 people perished and 56 other people were significantly injured. We must learn from this devastating event. We must take those learnings, not just in road transport, not just in Pakistan, but throughout the company, because I think there's some fundamentals that come from this. We're in the process of doing a deep learnings process around this tragedy, and I'll assure you we will take these learnings and use them throughout the company. If I could move to another area, which is difficult after that, but if you go with me, in Shell, like other companies, we build trust by our daily actions. I want to share with you some examples of exactly how many daily actions we have in Shell. And I think even the people that have been around Shell for a long time might be amazed at some of this data. We serve 30 million retail customers every day. That's more than 10 billion transactions every year. We refuel an airplane in one of the over 850 airports we serve every 14 seconds. 7 of the 10 largest automobile manufacturing companies in the world put Shell lubricants in their vehicles at the factory. We supply bitumen, which is the road paving material, and we produce enough to pave a road between here and Paris every day. As you can see, we have a lot of opportunities to build trust, and we also have a lot of opportunities to break it down. The fundamental that our company must do is focus on the 84,000 employees in 70 countries that must deliver the message for your company every day. One principle of this is our business principles, first published in 1976, and you can find it today on our website in 16 languages. There are 3 core values that underpin these business principles: honesty, integrity, respect for people. Honesty, always tell the truth. Integrity, always do the right thing. Respect for people, treat everyone like you would like to be treated, or even better, how would you like your mother or father, son or daughter to be treated? I've served on the Shale board for 8 years. One of my roles as a non-executive director is constantly observing for these core values in my interactions. And I can say without hesitation, I've never worked with a company that had higher ethical behavior than Shale. But that does not mean we're perfect. We have a strong policy that encourages anyone to bring forward an allocation in good faith, and we will protect them and take it very seriously. In 2017, our internal investigations confirmed 261 code of conduct violations. As a result, we dismissed or terminated 73 employees or contract staff. They left Shale. Yes, this is tough, but we must be tough when people break our code of conduct, because we all suffer when just one person breaks the trust. We can move now to our strategy as a company. We have 3 ambitions. Let me highlight them. The first is we aspire to be a world-class investment to all of our shareholders. If we can't do that, we cannot gain the resources we need to move forward as a company. Second, we strive to be a leader through this energy transition. I had the opportunity to talk to a graduating group of engineers 2 weeks ago, 480 brand new engineers. I decided to talk about the energy transition because I thought I had a pretty valuable proposition to make to them. I said, in the next half century, which is going to be roughly your working career, this world needs to make this energy transition happen to avoid the most devastating impact of climate change. What else could you imagine for your career with your engineering degree in hand than to be a part of that? A very exciting proposition. Let me tell you, it's also a very exciting proposition for the next half century for Shale. Our third ambition is, in addition to what our products do for people every day, let's make sure we're making a real contribution to people's lives. I believe the videos you saw at the first, which were not prepared for this meeting, but were collected from around the world, give a feel of how the Shale people in all 70 countries are stepping out in different ways. Ben will share much more depth and perspective about these aspirations, but I can tell you your board of directors is 100% supportive of everything Ben's going to describe and how critical these are to take our company forward. It occurred to me a good thing to do at this meeting would be to talk a little bit about how your board of directors does its work. You elect us. You have a right to know what we're doing for you, so let me describe it. We're a highly engaged board. We ask questions. We dig to get to the core of the issues. We operate from a concept of go, see, listen, engage. It's critical that we bring out these tough questions and deal into the complex problems. There are many great things in this company, and you can sit around as a board and just talk about the wonderful accomplishments, but we serve much more value when we dig into the other areas. Let me share with you a few examples of how your board works. Our Corporate Social Responsibility Committee has visited Groningen multiple times because we wanted to hear directly from residents and leaders in the area what was going on. In addition, this same committee has visited Nigeria 3 times in the last 7 years. The last one just 2 months ago, where Hans, Catherine, and Nigel were all on the scene, digging into all the opportunities and hazards we must deal with. Gerard is our chair of our remuneration committee, actively meets with shareholders fully takes into account their suggestions and reviews them with his full committee. The audit committee, including Yulene, Roberto, Garrett, and along with Jessica, were in London just yesterday on our trading floor, talking with employees, understanding what risk is and how they should manage it in the process. And late last year, we appointed Linda as chair of a special committee so we could have focus on the Nigerian litigation issue. 2 months ago, the entire board met with a cross-section of employees where we wanted to know the dilemmas they faced in doing their jobs. Where were their resources short? Where they needed more support? Where did they need more training? We learned a lot, all the way from comments about our Shale People Survey to how you manage a tight budget with limited resource. Now let me turn to the other group of people you look to in your company, the Executive Committee, led by Ben. The Executive Committee attends all of our board meetings. We want them in the room so we can hear directly and ask the questions, particularly about these most difficult situations. Also, it's nice for them to be able to hear the perspective of the board, each member in person as it comes out. In addition to Ben and Jessica, the Executive Committee includes Andy, John, Harry, Martin, Donnie, and Ronan. In my role as chair, I spend a lot of unstructured time with each one of these leaders. I'm looking for what are they focusing on and how are they doing it. My first observation is the name Executive Committee does not properly describe a true team of senior leaders who pull together and support each other. Under Ben's leadership, this committee has become a true team. We all have different ways of evaluating leaders, but let me share one I always have, and I've done it with each one of these people I just named, is what I like to report to that person. In other words, in a workplace situation where I like them to be my manager, I can say without hesitation, I can report to any member of this Executive Committee and look forward to coming to work every day. But Ben, I would not suggest that tomorrow as a start. Let me say a few words about our CEO before I turn the floor over to him for his presentation. Ben is not only trusted, but trusting, a good listener. He knows that diverse points of view improve the quality of decisions. He does not only give you an answer to your question, but he shares the background. He shares his logic and reasoning so you fully understand what's behind his answer so it can be guidance to you going forward. You'll hear that today in the way he answers your questions. Ben's made many critical decisions in his over 4 years leading your company, including pulling back from Alaska, selling our oil sands, buying the BG Group. With Ben as your Chief Executive Officer, you can be sure of Shale. Ben, over to you.
Well, thanks very much, Chad, also for raising the expectations on how I'm going to answer all your questions. But let me also offer you my very warm welcome to today's AGM. And my thanks for the efforts that you have made to be here today and to hear about the progress of your company. And it's a special pleasure for me to talk to you because I do this following a year that was truly transformational for the company. So our progress towards our first strategic ambition that Chad already mentioned, becoming a world-class investment case, was especially satisfying. In 2017, your company delivered strong financial performance, the end of the scrip dividend, and we confirmed our intention to buy back at least $25 billion of our shares between 2018 and 2020. The timing of the share buyback program is driven by financial principles. Specifically, we must meet our financial framework commitments, the commitments we have consistently shared with you. We will move forwards towards the buybacks as we achieve these commitments in the right order. New projects have more than offset the impact of divestments as we upgraded our portfolio. We have also had record LNG liquefaction and sales volumes, and downstream volumes, excluding divestments, also continue to grow. But 2017 was not just a year of financial delivery. It was also a year in which Shell made some big moves towards its second strategic ambition, to thrive in the energy transition. Now, you may have seen our recently published report, Sky, a scenario which details how the world could meet the goals of the Paris Agreement. And last month, I have another one here, we released our Shell Energy's Transition Report. And it demonstrates why we believe our portfolio is resilient even in the Sky scenario. And in 2017, in November, we announced our industry-leading net carbon footprint ambition. The ambition is clearly aimed at helping Shell to thrive through the energy transition that we are currently in the middle of. But it's also a contribution towards our third strategic ambition, maintaining a strong societal license to operate, being valued for making a real contribution to people's life. Now, on this slide, you can see the progress in terms of numbers. Progress that actually accelerated from 2017 with the acquisition of BG Group. Buying BG has enabled the delivery of so much of what is on this slide. That includes our 4-quarter rolling free cash flow at the first quarter of 2018 at around $28 billion US. And that's at an average of $57 Brent. On a 4-quarter rolling basis, organic free cash flow has on average covered interest payments as well as the cash dividend since the second quarter of last year. Around 15% return on average capital employed in the downstream. And since the beginning of 2016, at headline level, we have completed $26 billion worth of divestments as we high-graded the portfolio. Now, that's not to say that the work is done. It's not. But our cash flow priorities remain reducing debt, paying dividends, and then a balance of capital investments and share buybacks. The divestments that your company has made to date have helped bring down the debt, as you can imagine, and we plan to continue this momentum. The strengthening of our financial framework is, of course, not just the result of divestments. It is fundamentally also about the strength of our cash flows. And this in turn means that there can be no let-up also in our disciplined approach when it comes to operating costs as well as capital investment levels. Now let me give you a little bit more detail on these cash flows. This chart here shows the strong performance on cash flow from operations. And I would just highlight this. Last time the oil price was at a comparable level was in 2015. And the cash flow then was under $25 billion US. That's $14.5 billion less than last year. So between 2015 and 2017, your company has achieved a 60% increase in cash flows at a comparable oil price level. So the 2017 performance clearly shows the cash-generating capabilities of our portfolio. And as I said, our focus on cost has been key, and we will maintain this without compromising on safety, even as we look to spend where it adds value. And this focus, combined with strong cash-generating momentum that your company has established, give me confidence that we will deliver on the upgraded 2020 financial outlook that we presented at Management Day in 2017. And I just want to round off the financial details by emphasizing our very strong track record on dividends, which I'm sure will be on your mind as well. Your company, as I'm sure you know, is the largest dividend payer in the world in 2017, based on dividends declared. The declared dividend for 2017 amounted to some $16 billion US, with the fourth quarter dividend fully paid in cash. Last month, we announced the first quarter dividend for 2018 at 47 US dollar cents per share. Now, for this level of performance to continue, of course, your company must seek exceptional performance in health, safety, security, and environmental matters, or HSSE. Goal 0 is our aim. You've heard that before. Zero harm to either people, zero harm to the environment. That's critical for responsible delivery of energy as well. It's what society expects from us. We will not be a world-class investment case, nor thrive through the energy transition, or maintain a strong societal license to operate, unless we are known as a company that performs and behaves in the right way. Ultimately, this comes down to embedding a culture of care that protects our reputation and drives competitive advantage. And this approach helped deliver some good results in 2017. As you already heard from our chairman, we had, for example, the lowest injury rate at 0.8 injuries per million working hours. But you also heard that I'm not happy at all that after 5 years of improvement, we saw last year again an increase in the number of process safety incidents. Specifically, we are analyzing the fire that we had on our Enchilada platform in November in the Gulf of Mexico to identify the lessons we learn. But be assured, we identify or we learn lessons from every incident that we suffer. And although it's not reflected in the indicators on this slide, I also want to acknowledge the devastating road tanker incident that happened in Pakistan in June of last year. As our chairman mentioned, the tanker was operated by a subcontractor of Shale Pakistan Limited outside of the operational control of Shale Pakistan Limited. But we are devoting very careful management attention to understanding what were the factors that could have led to this incident, so that we can learn from it, but we also wish to see the right thing done for the community concerned. And Shale Pakistan is implementing a long-term relief program for all those that are affected. Now, I also know you want to have an update on NAM, the independent 50-50 joint venture with ExxonMobil here in the Netherlands. And although NAM is an independent venture, Shell fully understands that the earthquake situation deeply concerns local communities in Groningen. As you are aware, in March, the Dutch Ministry of Economic Affairs announced Groningen to zero by 2030. The impact of this announcement is one of the topics of continuous and constructive conversations between the NAM shareholders and the Dutch government. And in any case, I want to re-emphasize that again, NAM will stand by its financial responsibilities. NAM is financially robust, and Shell Nederland has indicated it is willing to provide guarantees as well. Now, the text and the shape of these guarantees are part of our conversations with the Minister of Economic Affairs and Climate Policy. All parties in the conversation want to ensure that NAM is capable of covering for earthquake-related costs. But while NAM is a matter of ongoing conversations, I can also say that I'm delighted that your company is now able to move forward with confidence on the biggest challenge facing our industry, business, and the world, society, which is climate change. As you know, your company supports the goal of the Paris Agreement. Your company supports it for the full 100%. More than that, your company believes Paris, while it is challenging, is also achievable. But only if the world can come together in a vast effort of collaboration. Governments, business, civil society, consumers, all pulling in the right direction. Establishing exactly how your company was going to support Paris was not a simple task. It required deep thought, it required consideration, time, and we have all done that. And crucially also, we have listened to many voices, including many voices of those who fundamentally do not agree with us. And the result of that thinking and the result of that listening are now out there for all to read. So, as I said, we published Sky. I recommend you read it, which looked at what the world might need to do in order to meet Paris. We published the energy transition, Shell Energy Transition Report, which sets out the reasons why your company is resilient no matter what the future will hold. And in November, as I said, we laid out our net carbon footprint ambition. And Shell is collaborating with leading technical experts to review and to verify the methodology that sits behind the net carbon footprint ambition. And this ambition is all about keeping the company in step with society's progress towards meeting Paris. So that means exploring and developing the business opportunities in the global shift to a lower carbon energy system. The net carbon footprint ambition must make sense to you, our investors, not only from a moral and a societal point of view, but also from an economic point of view. This ambition that we have launched is truly industry-leading. Nobody else comes close. It is very seriously ambitious, not least because it means your company will have to move faster than society, because we have more oil and gas in our energy products than society has as a whole. Of course, we have little wind and solar to date. We have no hydro, no nuclear, so we will have to catch up with the rest of society. But I'm really looking forward to making sure that we do and to put the net carbon footprint ambition into action on your behalf. And that brings us to a resolution, Resolution 19, on this matter, which your board unanimously recommends you vote against today. Follow this. Want Shell to take leadership over climate change? Well, your company is already doing exactly that. It is in the greenhouse gas metrics on the executive scorecard. It is in Shell's early support of the task force for climate-related financial disclosures. It is in the Shell Energy Transition Report. It is in the Sky scenario. And your company's net carbon footprint ambition is founded also on a well-considered methodology. We are currently anchoring that methodology in the way we manage the company. The ambition requires Shell to take a broader and a more meaningful approach than the one that is suggested by Follow This. Our methodology and ambition gives us the flexibility to respond to a continuously changing landscape over the next decades. We will need this flexibility as the energy transition plays out over these coming decades. Now, in contrast, the Follow This resolution would tie our hands and limit our capacity to respond. So your board asks you vote against this resolution and allow management to continue to implement the ambition that we have announced. Your company wants to lead. We ask you to let us. So follow us. And your company is already taking action. These are early moves, but it's worth giving you some detail. We have allocated the highest budget to our new energies business amongst the international oil companies. During 2017, Management Day, we announced increased capital investment of an average of $1 to $2 billion per year until 2020. And that gives us a leadership position amongst the IOCs. There are two strands in our new energies business: power and new fuels. In power, Shell has the potential to make returns at every stage of the value chain: generation, trading, supply. And we will continue to be involved wherever it makes commercial sense to us and therefore to you, our shareholders. Your company is already one of the top 3 power wholesalers in the United States. And in September last year, we bought MP2, which is a United States-based leader in the area of power demand response. In January of this year, we became the largest shareholder in Silicon Ranch, a leading US developer, owner, and operator of solar energy plants in the United States. And in February, we completed the acquisition of UK-based First Utility, allowing us to supply energy directly to hundreds of thousands of homes in the United Kingdom. Furthermore, since 2017, Shell has been introducing charging points for battery electric vehicles on forecourts in the UK and here in the Netherlands. In 2017, we bought New Motion, the owner of one of Europe's largest electrical vehicle charging networks. And your company also signed an agreement with high-power charging network operator Ionity to offer charge points across 10 European countries. And in addition, Shell is helping to build the infrastructure needed to realize the potential of hydrogen as a fuel. In Germany, for example, Shell is part of a joint venture which is installing a nationwide network of hydrogen stations. So Shell is positioning itself to take the opportunities in the global energy transition. And we believe your company is resilient to all the change that is there to come. We have our strategy, we have our direction. We have also shown leadership, and we continue to do so. We will move in step with society and with our customers as the world progresses towards meeting the goals of Paris. And we will do it in a way that adds value to your company and to you as shareholders. As I said at the beginning, 2017 was a year of transformation, but you can be sure there is a lot more transformation to come. And I'm confident that